And we're back with The Legend of Zelda, the Ancient Stone Tablets. I bet you never expected this, did you? Or maybe you did because of the teaser at the end of last week's video. Congratulations if you watched that far. Your Nutrigrains are in the post. This bonus part is a thank you to everybody that's been watching this Harry Yack mammoth playthrough. And my goodness, has it been long. 3 hours, 34 minutes, and 27 seconds to be precise. That's an awful lot of time to be filling with inane yakking. So, if you manage the whole thing, you are truly a god amongst men. And women. And animals. Here, I'm demonstrating a fairly well-known use for the magical powder. You spray it on one of those buzzblobs, and they turn into some sort of mutant clown thing. Yes, this video is all about some of the secret, hidden things that the programmers inserted into the original Link to the Past that were carried over into the coding for this game, which of course was completely ripped from Link to the Past. For this segment, I've basically just reloaded the Week 4 ROM after completing the game. This allows me to continue from where I left off and carry on exploring. Now, if you sprinkle the magic powder on this lady, she turns into a furry. And the best thing about this is that you can go in her house, come back out again, and sprinkle it on her once more for another furry. Instant infinite furries. And now, it's time for viewer comments with Harry Yack. Oh, shut up! It isn't that good. Jeez. Sneaky Weasel said that he had some problems getting the game to run correctly. Well, if you're having similar problems, then I suggest going to bszelda.zeldalegends.net. And there you will find everything you need to get started with the ROM. Thankfully, Sneaky Weasel did find what he needed, and is presumably now happily playing the game. Cheers for subscribing, dude! On the subject of the ROM, since I recorded this playthrough back in January, there have been a couple of updates to it. And these address minor graphical and aesthetic issues, such as your character disappearing underneath a staircase. Yeah, I think I demonstrated that in week 3, was it? And you can get full details of these updates at said website. As I've previously mentioned, there is an ongoing effort to keep revisiting the ROM to try and refine it and make it as close as possible to the original Satellaview experience. Here's another huge shout out to all the people involved in making this ROM. Cheers, I guess? Nah, they've done an excellent job. Aha! Here's the thing from Link to the Past, where you can help the swordsmiths. Just lay the smack down on one of them, hit them with the hammer, and they'll still speak to you, even though you've just tried to brutally murder them. Well, I think we'd better move on to some more comments. One of my favourite conversations was with Sir Sathington, and that, somewhat strangely, was regarding robots. Specifically, whether they smoke. And ultimately, it created an image in my head of a robot on fire, smoking an e-cig. So it would be a smoking robot, smoking. Now, don't ask me what on earth that has to do with The Legend of Zelda, because you know full well that it has absolutely nothing to do with the game. Unless Skyward Sword, which I have yet to play, has a Metal Gear Solid-esque storyline. It's just one of those weird discussions you get into on YouTube videos, usually mine. Yes, I am the king of the non sequitur. Here's a room that I missed in the 4th part, by the way, included for the sake of you completists out there. I know that, judging from the incompleteness of my other videos, there won't be many of you out there. But, as I always say, it's better to cover as many bases as possible. Well, alright, I've never said that before in my life, but give me a break. Next up, conclusive proof that you can play as a girl in this game. And what happens if you start the game in any week other than the first? Whilst that's happening, it's time to hear from our next contestant, and that's Lake Palmer. Round of applause! No. This studio audience is dead. I've really got to get a warm-up act, haven't I? Anyway, Mr. Lake Palmer says that the homeless man from Part 3 looks like a womble. And I agree with him on that. It's a pretty good observation. However, he's also been keeping tabs on my impressions, such as they are. I haven't been keeping track of them personally, but I do remember Brian Blessed, who could forget him, and Billy Connolly. And then there's Satan himself, because I am Satan, and you're all doomed to hell. Yes, Satan as played by Brian Blessed there. Anyway, Mr. Lake Palmer, this final impression of Brian Butterfield is just for you. That was the impression, by the way. Yeah, I know it sucked, didn't it? Moving on to more serious matters, CPC Gamer questions my terming of this game as a watered-down version of Link to the Past. And you know what? I also question that, because in the first part, I'd yet to have done my full research. And yes, that's fairly evident, isn't it? I hereby revise that statement and say it's more of an enhanced version of Link to the Past. If you take into account some of the added gameplay features, then I suppose you could call it a sort of sequel. Except not really, because officially it's a spin-off. Yes, that's the word from Nintendo, and Nintendo's word is final. I think this game is actually closer to what you might call a modern digital download expansion pack. Indeed, it was a digital download. Nintendo were doing this thing 15 years ago. If you think the Wii Virtual Console is a new thing, think again! Oh, what on earth what is that? A chicken monster! Yes, it's a glitched enemy. And in here, we have Zelda? Zelda, what are you doing in Link's house? Well, I suppose I'd better come clean and admit to being a little bit naughty here. Yes, I'm on the hunt for glitches. Here, I've reloaded the Week 1 ROM after completing the game, and this allows you to get to some areas which were previously inaccessible. And as you can see here, some pretty weird glitches. Oh, look at that! It's some sort of weird swamp. Ugh. This is a fun little thing that you can try out yourself, so let me know what you find. Post a response video, perhaps? Anyway, here's some of the weird glitches that I found. I think we have time for a few more comments, don't you? SSIG94 agrees with me on the fact that the ancient stone tablets look like cartons of eggs. You see, what I didn't show you in this video is the secret hidden cutscene in which the hero of light makes an omelette. He then realises that the eggs have been stored in a dungeon for thousands of years, and bins the lot. Yep, sorry, the whole game has been a great fat lie. They should have called it The Legend of Zelda, The Ancient Rotten Eggs. Well, maybe not, because I wouldn't have bought it. In fact, none of us would have bought it, because it was only released in Japan. I don't know, maybe they love that sort of thing over there. FaultyCog says this game takes him back to when he played the full Link to the Past on his Super Nintendo when it was brand new. I did originally plan to do a full Link to the Past playthrough, but as you can imagine, that was shelved because it would take far too long. Even though I know where everything is and where I'm going and all that stuff, it would still take me about 8 or 9 hours to complete the whole thing, so I opted for something shorter. And anyway, this is a little bit more obscure, and I thought you might appreciate it a bit more. What's this? Buzzblob's walking on water now? It's an impossibility. You are now entering the glitch zone. Yes, I really liked the original Link to the Past, even though it took me a good 10-15 years to complete. But I think I told you that story already. It was something of a surprise when I did complete it, and the ending's great and all, but you're left with that hollow feeling of you've completed the game. There's nothing else to do. Your only choice is to start again from the beginning, but if I'd have known about this game, if it were released in the West, then I certainly would have played this to death as well. Atsuma Karin says that his favourite part of this Harry Yack playthrough has been Chapter 4, and the more I watch it, the more I tend to agree with him. When I originally recorded all 4 parts, the 3rd chapter was my favourite, but now I'm warming more towards part 4, I think. It's got a lot more jokes in it. And well, it's the finale, isn't it? So there's plenty of stuff to talk about. So yeah, probably 3 or 4. Well, go on then. You twisted my arm. Part 4 is my favourite. I'd be interested to know which is your favourite part, and indeed, if you've enjoyed this series as a whole. I don't really plan to do a lot more long playthroughs. I'm gonna stick to the shorter stuff as a general rule, but I don't know, what do you guys prefer? Drop me a comment and I shall reply to it. Defcon Zero, forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, left a comment regarding the difficulty of the dungeons and asked if there would be a water temple-esque dungeon in this game. Well, there's certainly nothing anywhere near as difficult as the water temple in this game, or indeed in Link to the Past. Although the ice temple can get quite irritating, while Turtle Rock, haha, well you know what I feel about that. Oh, you stupid birds. They've been the scourge of this playthrough. Hold on a minute. There's something missing here. But ignore for a minute the Zora Lumberjacks, because the rental shop is gone. That's some disappearing act there. The Zora Jacks are cutting down the tree with fish. Actually, I'm not sure what those things are, and I don't think I want to know. Freaks, no matter how hard you try, you're never going to be able to cut down that tree. Oh, and also notice there, we can now kill the Buzzblobs because we have a level 4 sword. Yay! Well, sadly, we're now nearing the end of this particular Harry Yack playthrough series. But don't despair, because the Yack will be back soon. a condensed version of this playthrough will be appearing on my channel at some point in the future. And who knows, perhaps I might revisit the Legend of Zelda series as we walk about blindly here. Weird. I have a very special credits sequence in store, which I'm sure you'll all enjoy. So, until next time, sayonara! Or should that be Sakiyama? No, it's definitely sayonara. Get out of it, bird! Haha! Can't get me, you dumb bird! Get out of it! Gotcha! Those birds are too unpredictable. Oh, blasted bird! Die! Yes! Haha! Bird can't see me. Ha ha ha! I have no time for flying fiends. Those blasted birds. Get it! Stupid bird. Your flight powers are nothing compared to my Pegasus shoes. Ha 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 ha. Haha, I have that bird in my pocket now. Blasted bird. Typical, it would get the last word.